Amid this now 2-week-long shutdown, the Trump administration has been accused of absolutely gutting a number of federal bureaucracies. And recently, it seems like the education department has been their big focus. Now, bear in mind, they've been clear from the very beginning, they don't want there to be a Department of Education at all. And they don't give a damn what happens to your kid. Maybe you'll be lucky and you'll be in a state that's very responsible, well-funded with property taxes or something, but maybe you won't and your kid will be, doomed for life. There's not gonna be any federal oversight. Now, we're not quite to that point, but we're getting closer with every passing day because of these massive layoffs. And so today's big suite of layoffs is the majority of staff in the education department that have been handling special education have all been wiped out. They fired 466 people. And look, I understand we're a country of over 300 million people. That may not seem like a lot, but that is a massive building of people all getting up every day and working full shifts to make sure that special education is funded, that there's oversight, that kids are getting what they need across America. And this, I'm sure, is the exact sort of like Democrat jobs that Trump has talked about. Like, it's just things Democrats want. But like kids who are in special education are not they're not blue. Like, it's not like, kids only need that stuff in San Francisco or something. There's just some kids everywhere. The reddest districts in America have kids that need oversight, they need funding, they need standards, they need attention, thought, compassion. And that also requires a lot of bureaucracy. And now they're not gonna get it. And there might be some places, maybe with money, that the states can maybe pick up the burden. But in a lot of places, they're not going to, especially in red districts. And so, Trump will pitch this as screwing over the Democrats and screwing over the big cities, and Fox, if they cover this at all, which they probably won't, that's how they'll present it. And many MAGA people will receive it as, those damn federal workers who I'm sure, despite not having any information, are super lazy and don't deserve it. But your kids, some percentage of your kids need this stuff. Their lives have now just gotten a lot harder because of the guy that you worship. You are cheering the added difficulties that your family will now face. So we have 466 layoffs. This is across the Office of Special Education and Rehabilitative Services. It oversees programs that support millions of children and adults with disabilities nationwide. Again, not just in Manhattan or whatever, not just in Austin, all over the place. It affects dozens of staff members responsible for roughly $15 billion in special education funding and for making sure states provide special education services to the nation's 7.5 million children with disabilities. And I have no doubt that this story, it's gonna get covered a little bit there. You have NPR did a report on it, The Guardian did a report on it. I'm sure the New York Times will do something, but for the most part, this is not a sexy story. This is not a story that's gonna receive all that much attention. But 7.5 million children across America, in every state, in every county, every town, their lives have just been made harder so that Donald Trump can feel a little petty. Like, you're gonna shut down the government? Yeah, screw those 7.5 million kids, which mathematically more than 3 million are in Republican families. It's a really weird way to treat your movement, your supporters who love you so much. We have all of the staff in the Office of Special Education and Rehabilitative Services, with a handful of just a couple of top officials and support staff being fired. And so that's gonna hurt a lot of these families. It hurts the monitoring efforts, oversight of states to make sure that they're complying with the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, which some normally will and some don't want to. So again, your results, as they do in so many things in this time, are gonna really vary based on which state you happen to live in. And so you've got that. I wanna be clear though, in terms of education cuts, this is just the latest. This is today's cuts. You had this massive office of primary and secondary education, again, mostly enforcing standards, making sure that funding gets to the kids and the teachers, support staff that need it, that previously had been fired. Apparently, overall 4,200 federal employees' jobs have been lost during this. And that's just in education. You've probably seen over the last few days, the CDC received a lot more cuts too. Over 1,000 employees being fired. And we had one of those fun classic moments from this Trump term where they fired a bunch of people doing pandemic, preparedness and tracking of infectious disease outbreaks. And then for some of those jobs, they were like, oops, I guess we gotta bring them back. which it seems like the sort of thing that by now you would know before you fire them that would be a disaster, but they're still learning on the job like 9 months into this thing. But despite the fact that they brought back some of those, there's still hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of CDC staff that have been fired. And in this category, I don't know, are these Democrat jobs? I guess. They're concerned with medical science. They have respect for doctors and all of that. So I guess it's a Democrat thing, but as with kids having disabilities or needing aid, disease doesn't discriminate. It affects us all. And so again, like maybe it comes down to your own state. States handle some of this stuff too. And so like, I know that every time he does this, there are so many MAGA people that are just cheering it, but they're getting effed over. I mean, we're all getting effed over. I think that we're all aware of that at this point, but every time they get effed over more because the federal government in many cases was the only level of governance that actually gave a damn about them. Their counties don't care, their states don't care. Their states care so little about them, and in many of these cases, they reject the money being freely offered to them. And so without this federal funding and without this federal oversight, their lives are gonna be made more difficult in so many different areas. And we're focusing here on outbreaks and medicine and education, but that's just two ways. You screw over the EPA, you make their lives harder, you make disease more prevalent, and you can just go on down the line in all of these different areas. So Donald Trump, he does this petty thing and MAGA laughs, but I don't know, like I feel like objective reality has the last laugh. We will continue to track it day by day, in particular to see if, as the polling comes out, Democrats are inclined to blink. And by the way, they're sort of holding out for that one big day with the open enrollment for the ACA. It's possible that that's not as strong of a, like magnifying glass on their leverage as they think. If the media doesn't bite, if they don't actually make it clear, maybe that doesn't actually help the Democrats in this. But it's perhaps one of their best bets, so we will be tracking it. If you enjoyed that, make sure that you never miss another video by subscribing. And if you want a little more, consider hitting the join button and becoming an actual member. But you're probably wondering, why the hell would I do that, John? First off, calm down. The stakes in this are very, very low. But also, when you click the join button and you become a member, you get access to bonus content that I make every week, and it's a ton of fun. You get access to tons of custom emojis and more besides that. By the way, if you join at tier 3, you even get access to a monthly member hangout with myself and other awesome people, and we always have a great time. By the way, you'll get all that going forward, but you also unlock years of the back catalog. That is literally 100 or more bonus clips, top 10 lists, debates, and more. What are you waiting for? Click the join button below. Your support powers our show, and we couldn't do it without you. Or at the very least, I wouldn't really want to try. Viewers like you keep me here. So thank you in advance for joining.